And we are live. Can you hear me? Is everybody
Yeah,
there?
how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing all right.
Great. Well, I'm just very excited. We are talking about Coffee with a Custodian today. So, this is the live book launch, and we are just ecstatic to have the newest Edufable on the market officially. That's pretty cool. How are you feeling, Dr. Johnson?
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. You helped me launch the Room 212, which just has had such tremendous success. And so I'm so excited to get this full story narrative type book out for the educational leaders as well. So I'm ready to just talk about it and have some great people come in and share with us for a few minutes and just spend a little bit of time with all the great people, all the leaders that are out there that are going to share a little bit of time with us and hopefully take away a little bit of information about it and a little bit of inspiration even more.
Well, great. Well, yeah, let's just jump right in then. So how did you come up with the idea of Coffee with the Custodian?
Well, I've written several leadership books, several educational books, and I do a lot of research and 30 years in the business, you kind of have a few experiences yourself. But what I've always found with the books is that people tend to like the little stories or the anecdotes that you share amongst all the bullets and the strategies, etc. And I was like, well, if that's the part that they really remember and connect with, why don't we just tell a story? And so that's kind of where I came up with the Edge of Fable idea. It started with Room 212, of course, but which is for teachers. But it was like, why not just tell stories that they can relate to, that they can see themselves in, and that they can take away a lot of the principles and the strategies that I would list out normally in a book and let them just see them lived out through the characters that are in the books. And so, the Coffee with the Custodian was one that kind of just resonated with me as I thought about it. And as I wrote it, people will see a lot of my lived experience in it, just like with Room 212. It's a story, but it's based on real things. It's based on, my 30 years of experience, my experiences as a leader, my experiences under leadership. And so just woven together kind of in this story that builds the arc of a new principle going through the year and getting some wisdom and some inspiration from an unexpected source.
Yeah, great, great. Yeah. Yeah, I love the sound of it. I read one of the early versions and I just loved it. You have a knack for making me tear up. Um, so, Room 212, and the same thing with this one. It's just so inspirational that there's so much truth to it. It really hits home in a lot of different ways. So I do have to ask, how did you pick a custodian character?
I've had a few people ask that, but what's interesting is I've had a few people also share with me. I remember I have a good friend, Martha. She's a principal in Florida. So shout out if you're on here tonight. And she's like, Brad, my first year, the first person I met as principal of a new school was the custodian. And she was like, I spent time with him. We had coffee in the morning. She's like, that was my lived experience too. And so I think as people read the book, that will kind of be it. But to me, it's like I've for a long time have always loved the word itself, custodian. We often think of janitor, or sweeper, or whatever. But in the original what custodian means, like in Greek, is a caretaker or a gatekeeper. And so to me, that kind of is what a custodian is in a school. They're that person that kind of keeps it running, keeps the hallways clean, keeps the temperature right, has the school open, and they're pretty much unnoticed until they're needed. And so to me, they have a perspective of the school that nobody else has. When people are around the leadership, like a principal, you're usually giving them your best. You're going to kind of, say things and be positive. But the custodian, they're mainly invisible, like I said, unless they're needed. And so they hear what people really say. you know when people leave that staff meeting, they hear what they're talking about in the hallway. So they get to see the people that are really committed, the ones that kind of roll their eyes, and just the whole kind of culture of the school. They see what's real. And so they have a very interesting perspective. And the example of Lloyd, who is the custodian in this one, he's been at this school for almost 40 years. And so he has seen several principals come and go. And so, but he's been around long enough to kind of pick up on what worked, what didn't work, how people reacted to certain ways. So he really has gained a lot of knowledge and perspective that was brilliant of Dr. Harper to kind of pick up on and kind of glean from him to help her on her way.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. Yeah, you never know when you're going to find, somebody that knows something about leadership that you don't, and you can find them all over. And
Yeah.
it takes a village to raise a leader, I guess. So
Yeah, I mean, you often find them in unexpected places. And I think we have our first guest, if you want to introduce her, which is my good buddy too. So I'm so excited she's here to share this with me and maybe give her perspective on it.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we have Dr. Rachel Edo-Eckett. She is a principal, TEDx speaker, 2 times best-selling author, district administration top 100 education influencers, writer for Teacher Goals and Edutopia, and co-authored Relational Intelligence with you, Dr. Johnson, the key factor to educational school leadership. And here she is.
Hey
Hi,
everyone.
We
So
have the
good to
rock
see you.
star.
How are you all doing? It's so good to see you both.
You
Yeah, good
too.
to see
So glad you
you.
could make it. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Well, from what I've heard is you've read, and we just want to hear your experience.
Yes, I have my copy right here. I really like this book a lot. There are many things that you already mentioned, Dr. Johnson, but one of the things that I love about it is the style of the book, that it's written as a narrative and the stories are really nice to connect with. I also like that the chapters are bite-sized. So if you're in a quick rush and you just want something really quick, you can pick it up in a couple of pages. You can really walk away with some great knowledge. My personal favorite chapter is chapter 16, where Lloyd and Dr. Harper talk about boundaries. And Dr. Johnson and I know that's a big part of the work that I speak about, that we believe in, that we have to make sure we're taking care of ourselves as leaders and teachers before we can take care of someone else at our best, right? At the best of our ability. And so the chapter really highlights that and uplifts that nicely. And I also like that at the end of the book, there are questions and different activities and reflections chapter by chapter. So that's also a really special feature of the book.
Yeah, I thought because most books have, questions at the end of the chapter or thought reflections, but I really wanted it to be the story and tell the story, get in the flow of the story and kind of experience it. And that's why I love like the chapters that you really connected with, you probably saw yourself in and, really connected with those. And, so I was like, I didn't want to interrupt the flow, but I did want it to be something that's useful for leaders. And so, yeah, at the end is the study guide. It goes chapter by chapter. It breaks down, it has like the leadership lens, it has guiding questions, and it's really to build a conversation with the leaders amongst themselves, whether it's a district or a school, and to just kind of work your way. The thing that I think was so important and why I really wanted to write the narratives is that you kind of see each one of those principles lived out. So it kind of gives you a reference point. Like if you're struggling with one, or, like with boundaries, it's not just telling you, hey, you need boundaries, but you're seeing the story lived out and be like, oh, okay, I can do that. Or I
Yeah.
see, that makes sense to me, so that, it's more alive and real than just, reading facts.
I agree. I think it's very relatable to see it in the story. I definitely see myself as a principal in Dr. Harper, but I also see the wisdom of Lloyd, the custodian, and my relationship with my head custodian. Because, like you said, as principals, typically the first people that we meet are usually our assistant principals and our head custodians, because we are the ones over the summertime when we're, learning the new building and those sort of things. So that relationship is real. And I like
Right.
that. Sometimes it's an unexpected relationship. If you're on the outside, you don't always know that. But I think it's a perfect story that you've put together. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Great. Well, let's see. Any last words you would like to leave?
Well, I want everyone to get a copy of the book, Coffee with the Custodian. I know you will enjoy it, and I know it'll be impactful. And thank you again for the opportunity to read and review the book. I think it's very powerful, and it's very enjoyable. I think people will enjoy it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking time. I know you're slammed and busy, but so thank you so much for taking a few minutes to share this with me. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me, Jeremy and Brad.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So I saw a couple of people that posted notes that they had that relationship with their custodian too. And so I think that's something that sounds like, people read it and be like, the custodian, really? But just like that Rachel shared, and a couple of people in the notes have shared, that really is the first person you spend the summer with in your school.
Yeah.
The teachers, may be in and out of their rooms, but that custodian's there and helping you, understand the lay of the land and different things. So, it's something you may not expect, but if you're in that role, it really does make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love this comment from Mara Hawkins. Folks don't care what you know until they know how much you care. And that's huge. And I think that is kind of the crux of this book is you have to care. And people see that, they can feel it, they know. And sometimes it's just a little thing. So that's really awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mara, for that.
And it's true. One of the big things I've been talking a lot about lately, and the book really reflects, is called relational leadership. And I think it's the big part of the puzzle that's missing in education, because I think most leadership was developed on what we call a technical system. Most management leadership styles and lenses and things were developed like during the Industrial Revolution, when you had people moving into management roles really for the first time for factory workers. And so everything's based on like a technical system. Something breaks down, you identify it, you figure out, how to fix it, and then you fix it. And the problem, though, with education is it's not a technical system, it's a human system. And so we have to figure out how that there's layers to it, and that there's people involved, and that it's not just a simple, here's a problem, let's fix it and let's move on. There's so much more dynamic to it, and, people and motivations and different things. So relational leadership really is the key to being effective in the educational setting. And, it really is about connecting with the people you lead, letting them know that you value them. And I think that's what really comes through the arc of the story is Dr. Harper realizing it's not about all the skills I had that got me here, but it's about how that I develop those relationships and bring out the best in those I lead. That's what leadership is all about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think we have another guest now, don't we, from Solution Tree, I think?
We do, yeah. Yeah. So we have Hillary Goff, the acquisitions director at Solution Tree, and loading in. Hey, how are you?
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Great. Yeah.
How are you doing?
Doing well. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited you're here. I told Jeremy you're like the superstar acquisition editor in the educational field. So I was so excited to work with you on this project, and so excited that you were able to take a few minutes and join us.
Oh my goodness. I'm so thrilled. Thank you for saying that. That's so kind. My book arrived yesterday, so it's perfect timing to be able to actually hold it in my hands. It's always so exciting. It's like a little, book birthday for sure. But yeah, I think, I was just so thrilled to be able to work with you, Brad, on this book, because I think, we've talked a lot about how there are a lot of books out there on leadership. There are a lot of books on, leading a school, on culture, on, relationship building. But this book is so different. It is such a different approach. It's a different sort of purpose and way that you engage with this work as a reader. And I think that leaders are ready for something different. And that's why I was so excited to be able to work with you on this project. I think we've talked a lot about how leaders right now are really struggling in a lot of places across a lot of schools. And a lot of folks are being put into leadership positions without support, without training. And, I think they need something different to kind of engage with and think about what their leadership development might look like. And I'm so excited because this book is something different and a different way to, think about what it means to be a leader. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, thank you. And that really was, I felt I'm like you, and I've written several of those other leadership books, and it's like, they are struggling, and they are, a lot of them just, feel overwhelmed, and the last thing they need is really, here's 10 steps to follow, but they need something, like I said, you can kind of read and not just see, okay, there's a principle here, but you see it lived out in the story. And I think that, kind of gives them a little bit of a lived experience to take it and run with it. And to me, that's almost like having a mentor there with you to say, hey, here's a possible way. And so they don't feel so overwhelmed or be like, okay, what was number 7? And what was, they remember the story. What's interesting, and I call these edufables, because it really is a story. And, I think all the way back, from Aesop and even Aristotle and Plato, we've always been storytellers, and that's what we remember. And the research even says we remember stories 20 times more than we remember information. And so I think that's why when I do PDs, when I keynote and things like that, I'm a storyteller. And I think that's even, in my descriptor is that I tell stories, and but that's what people remember. That's what people relate to. Some of the pre-readers that read the book and reviewed it, talked about that they saw themselves in it, or they saw those experiences. And I think one or two said it was very Steinbeck-ish. And I'm like, well, I'll take that for sure.
That's good praise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's so true. Story is so powerful. And like you said, we remember stories, we connect with stories. But to me, too, storytelling, that's fundamentally human. And teaching is fundamentally human. And so I think that's the part that this really kind of taps into is, it is, that's what drew me to the book from the very beginning, was just this unique concept of it's story-driven professional development for a profession that is so, human-centered and, relationship-centered. And stories stay with us, we know that. So, even though it's fiction, it's narrative fiction, it's still deeply rooted in authenticity. And you feel that it's your experiences. Exactly. These are lived experiences in school. And I think that authenticity really comes through too. So like you said, I think a lot of people will be able to see themselves in the narrative. And even if it's maybe not their direct experience, maybe it's, the principal they used to, have at their other building,
Right.
or, the teacher down the hall, or that sort of thing. So I think it is fiction, but it's very much lived and, in reality.
Well, and I think that, like I said, I think it's easier to remember. It's when you connect with something, it's easier to remember, and it's easier to carry with you. It's kind of like songs. We remember songs we heard 20 years ago or 30 years ago because the lyrics and the story that it tells we connect with. And so that's why, and there are narrative driven books out there, but there's never been any that were specific to education and to educational leadership. And it goes back to what you just said that I preach all the time, is that, education is a people business. And so we have to approach it that way. Everything needs to come, relationships is the foundation. You can't lead someone you don't know. And so that is the key. It's not how much you know, it's how much you know the people you lead. That's a pretty good quote. I might have to put that out later. But it is, and that's the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think one of my favorite features of the book too, though, is that full study guide in the back that we talked briefly about, earlier, that, it does really help take it to that next step of, okay, now how do I really reflect and engage with, these leadership principles, with the lessons throughout this narrative? How do I now sort of translate that into what I can do tomorrow? And it is immediately practical. So it's really, bridges from, that narrative right into practice, which I think is another really unique feature that, you're not going to find in another professional book. And it's really exciting, to think about what that can do for, even just the individual reader reading the book, but also, on a team level, a building level, a district-wide level, when folks really engage with those reflection questions and those, different, professional development suggestions to kind of take that learning further.
Yeah. And, it's like I shared earlier, I definitely wanted it separate from the story. I wanted people to immerse themselves in the story, read the story, really connect with it. But like you said, it's good to have that takeaway, that study guide that helps kind of actually guide, if you've got a group of principals or your sister principals, whether it's a district or, your coaches and heads in a school, it helps kind of identify what's the main theme, what's the principle in that chapter, what's kind of like the leadership theme or idea, what are some reflective questions, and it has those for every level, not just the principal, but the assistant principals, for your head of teams, and your coaches. And so it kind of helps everybody step back and look at it from their perspective. It's not like a one size trying to fit all. It really does help bring it to whatever your role is and connect with it. And to me, I don't know if that's ever been done before either. And so it was a conscious effort to try and do that and make it, I want each person that read it to feel like he was speaking to me, or the story was speaking to me. And this is going to help me get where I want to be.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, we're excited to see it grow and to get in the hands of all the leaders that need it. I think, like you said, it is personal for each, I think each person coming to it will bring their own experiences in their own context, right. But I can see, the potential for that growth, when you're taking it on at sort of that team level and beyond too. So on the individual level and, on the broader level as well.
Oh, absolutely. Because, it goes back to it's a people business. And so all of the principles and the guiding is about how to be a better leader of the people that you're in charge of. And so to me, that helps everyone grow together and be better. And also I'm excited. I don't think you'll be there, but I get to kick off this book at Banff at the You Lead conference in Banff in Canada Man, I'm so excited about that. It's one of like the premier educational conferences, leadership conferences in the world. And it's sold out. So I know everybody's excited about coming and hearing Coffee with the Custodian there. But yeah, I'm ready to kind of just bring it to the world there with that first keynote and just let it spread from there.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear the feedback that you get. I'm sure it's going to be fabulous. I wish I could be there. It seems like a beautiful location. So hopefully you can do some sightseeing too.
Yeah. Yeah. What a better place to have coffee with a custodian.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, any final thoughts from you, Hillary?
I think we're just so thrilled. We're so excited to have been, to partner with you, Brad, and we're just really excited to see the book, grow and make an impact. Because like I said, I think, we're on a personal level, I'm worried about leaders in schools. I'm worried about, the sort of the attrition rates, those, kind of all the negativity that we see. I think what I also just love about this book is that it's sort of steeped in positivity in the end too, it's a really inspiring and uplifting kind of message. And so, I'm just really excited to see, like I said, the impact grow, hopefully, inspire some, leaders to really step into what, leadership can look like in their school. And we want to help them do that. So we're excited.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to be with me.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. It's such a delight. Thank you.
Yeah.
Talk soon.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, I think we have one more guest, which is an awesome superintendent. So I know he's probably chomping at the bit to get on if you want to bring him on.
Yeah. So next up, we have Wade Stanford. Since becoming superintendent in 2016, he has led Westwood ISD with a visionary approach, fostering excellence in academics, student engagement, and community involvement. Mr. Wade Stanford.
Awesome. Thank y'all, Jeremy and Brad. I appreciate it so much. It's awesome to be here with you this evening.
Oh, we're honored to have you. I know you were on Lattes and Leaders last year, and man, we just had such a good time and listening to your experiences and just sharing, guiding a school system. And so, I was honored when you were willing to read the manuscript beforehand as well and kind of, share your thoughts on it too. But yeah, we're just so happy to have you here with us, even for just a few minutes.
You bet, Brad. And I tell you what, it was an honor to be able to read the manuscript. And I've got it pulled up on a screen beside me. And I want to, in a few minutes, I want to dig into a little piece. But I've listened to this piece, and you call it a fable, we call it fiction. But what I will say is this is real life. This Coffee with a Custodian is real life. I got so emotional as I was reading it. Tears, laughter, joy, all those pieces that I've experienced over 43 years. You've captured so much of that in this book. And I think it's such a blueprint of how to lead, that it's just an amazing piece. And as I've listened, I think we so often we miss the unassuming leaders in our schools, in our district. The custodian, which could be anybody. It could be a cafeteria worker. It could be a bus driver. It could be whomever. And so many times we overlook that. I tell you what Dr. Harper did, and something that I really embrace, and we try to embrace in our district, is she took time to sit and to hear. And what I talk a lot about is, if we're going to be excellent leaders, we have to listen, learn, and then lead. And I think you captured that in the book. She listened, she learned from Lloyd. And she was actually, I think she was the great leader to start with. I think Lloyd brought the leadership out in her.
There you go. I think so too. I love that you kind of felt that way.
Are we there?
Yeah, yeah, we can still hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I think it was that piece that he brought that out in her, and I think the message that I kept hearing was everybody's a leader in your district, everybody's a leader on your campus. Do not think that you have to have a title to be a
Yeah.
leader. Everybody is, and so that I think the other cool part was the guide at the end. And Brad, I know you, as I've listened, we've continuously heard for principals, for assistant principals, but here's what I'm going to tell you. This is an amazing book for a book study for a district leadership team, directors of transportation, directors of custodial services. Our police chief would eat this up, and I love the piece at the end. And my favorite one was chapter 22, the reflection over it, not a placeholder. Stop
Mm.
fixing, start valuing. And you talked a little bit about that. We've got to quit fixing education and start valuing people. And what you put in there was some pieces that were really insightful. I was asked to stay. I chose to lead. Dr. Harper was ultimately no longer defined by the qualifier of interim.
Mm.
Uh, and then the leadership lens talks about principles own your presence, even if the role feels temporary. Assistant principals lead with how you show up, not what your badge says. Coaches, you're not support staff, you're a culture architect. And then the reflection questions. When have you underestimated your influence because of your role? What actions show your team that they matter? Who still needs to know they're seen? What a powerful question you put there to really reflect. And so I think that this book has the opportunity to really impact across a district.
Mm. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I feel like every leader can benefit. And like you
Absolutely.
said, I just, because I think, one of the things I tried to bring the narrative around with her from the beginning, like you said, is she had all that potential and he kind of helped her realize it. But, you know, she was a go-getter. She did her thing. She got where she was based on her ability. And leaders get to their roles based on that. They're the achievers, they do. But sometimes what I think some of them fail to learn is what she did through the course of it is it's no longer about what I was able to do. It's what I'm able to get other people to do now. And so you have to kind of shift that focus from what I'm able to do. And because your tendency will be then to, well, let me just fix it, or, here's how I would do it. And it's to, what are their strengths and how can I bring them out, and let's help them be successful, because that's how I'm going to be successful as a leader.
And Brad, you captured in that because she's in conversations later in the book with teachers, and she empowered teachers to lead. And so I think that's a piece, the component with leadership is building capacity in others. And that's when you know you're a true leader, is
Yeah.
when you're building capacity in others. Did a wonderful job of capturing that too.
Oh, well, thank you. And at the end of the day, and we might have even talked about this back on Lattes and Leaders back in the day, but it really begins with trust. You have to trust the people you lead, and they have to trust you as a leader. And that takes time, and that takes developing that relationship with them.
It does.
They're not going to trust you unless they know you value them as a person first, and then as a professional. And that takes a little bit of work. But once you do, man, what you can achieve.
Yeah, it does it takes work. And I think leaders right now are hesitant to trust. And I think we have to trust more than we've ever trusted. And we have to give people opportunities to try and fail and
Yep.
learn and give them opportunity to experience those things.
Yep. Jeremy?
Taking it back a little bit, getting emotional again. It's bringing up some specific parts of the book, and let's not go there. We'll keep it together for the sake of everybody. but yeah, we really appreciate having you on. And are there any final thoughts or any more bombs you want to drop on us?
Yeah, so I think that as I part here is just to encourage everybody to look at every possible opportunity to use this book to dig in and draw out the leadership that's in their district, and to look at how they can build that capacity in every single person.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And you're so right. I mean, and you just added so much to that, probably better than I even wrote it. So I
No.
appreciate that so much. And I appreciate you. We've known each other for a while now, and
Yes,
I
sir.
love the work you've done there and in your district. And I know that you're just, continually doing great things and innovative things. So I appreciate you so much for just taking the time to be with us tonight.
It was my honor. I thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Brad, for allowing me to be on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
All right. Well, we know we've got a book giveaway. How do you want people to shout out if they want the book?
Yeah. So, I have a couple of things in the comments. I don't know if you've guys have noticed this streaming across the bottom. Message in the chat for a chance to win a 25 book set for your school or district. So we have a couple of different ways to do that. A lot of you have been commenting already, which is awesome, and it's much appreciated. But let's see where everybody's from. Shout out your school or district in the chat.
Yeah, I hope we've got them from all over. I know in some different countries we've got people coming and at different hours. And so I just want to tell you all, thank you. Just for taking the time to be here means a lot to me. And, I know some of the people put that they, love my messages and my quotes and things like that. But, one of the things I like to share when I travel and when I speak is I hope I am inspiring, and I hope I'm affirmational and really help people leave just refreshed and hopefully with some nuggets of wisdom. But I tell you, when I'm around educators, I'm the one that gets inspired and just leave affirmed and just refreshed myself, just because y'all do give so much and all that you do. And so I just want to thank you, leaders. I know sometimes I post a lot about leadership and encouraging you, and building relationships and stuff, but man, I know how hard of a job it is. I had that job. I know how tough it is. I know how lonely it can be at times. But the work that you do supporting your teachers and your staff, and if you're at the district supporting the school leadership, every role is just so important. But every role is all about leadership or all about relationship. And so I hope that's the thing that you take away tonight. In the past, we've always thought of relationship as, something extra or something you do if you have time. But, it's like I mentioned early, education is what we call it's called an adaptive system or a human system. And so it is not part of the process. It is the process. Building those relationships, understanding people, valuing them, supporting them, helping them build their strengths to be their best. My goodness, I just think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. It is. So let's see. Yeah, we've had a lot of different people. I was displaying some of our comments under there. We have people from all over. Bianca Woods is pretty local to us, DeKalb County, Georgia. That's pretty cool. Hi, Bianca. And I know you can't answer, but hi.
You can still tell her, hey.
North Carolina's close. Minnesota, British Columbia, Alberta. I love Alberta.
Alberta, all right. I was just up there. I will be up there for BAMF, so I'm looking forward to all my Canadian friends, but I know there'll be people there from all over. But at ULEAD conference, I'm just so excited about that and looking forward to meeting everybody. And then I'll actually be traveling around Alberta some this summer doing a leadership tour. So I'll be excited to be back up there again. But, yeah, shout out to all y'all. Love that. People from other countries that are here at different times too, besides just Canada, and all you in the US, again, just thank you for taking the time to be here. Man, I appreciate it. I think the book, again, is something I think that you'll connect with. It's the first full narrative. It's just a story that you just kind of connect with and read. It's funny, with Room 212 was the very first one. One of the feedback that I got from a teacher was, she goes, I've never completely read a book. She goes, I'll read, the questions or whatever, or the anecdotes. She's like, this is the first book I've sat down and fully read in like 10 years. And so that's kind of what I was hoping for with this, is to just, something it's an easy read. It's a pretty quick read, but hopefully it's an invaluable read. And so, I just appreciate everybody. Jeremy, have you got a winner for us yet for that 25 book set?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So let's see.
Do we need a drum roll or what?
Yeah, can you do a drum roll?
I probably not.
Okay, yeah. Don't want to shake the camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we have Meg Knox as our winner.
All right.
Congratulations.
So give us a woohoo, Megan. Or Meg. I can't remember. Maybe she'll give us a shout out. Meg Knox. All right. Wake County Public Schools in North Carolina. So congratulations. Y'all will get the 25 book set. Some of you others that posted and things, we'll send a copy to a couple of you. Jeremy, do you want to give me a couple of names? And what they can do is email me and I will ship them out the books as well. Meg, if you will message me or email me through the website or through, social media, so I can get your information to send those books out as quickly as possible.
Okay, perfect. So we're looking for runners up now.
Yeah, if there's a couple, then they can just send us the chat or send me in chat or message or website for a book.
Let's see. We have Emily Nunn Starnes.
Okay. All right, Emily. So yeah, just message me on Facebook or through the website or whatever. And let's do one more. Let's do one more book.
Let's see. Amy.
Okay, Amy.
In Georgetown. Awesome.
Okay. Yeah, so Amy, if you'll just message me or send me an email on the website, and I'll get a book out to you as well.
Perfect. Well, yeah, that's exciting. Congratulations, everybody.
Yeah. So Jeremy, thank you for hosting tonight. Thank you for helping me get this together. I want to thank everybody again for coming. And I always say to teachers, so I want to say to all you leaders out there, if no one has told you lately, thank you for the work that you do, for the heart that you pour into what you do, and the lives that you impact with your teachers and your students. Let me just say thank you. Thank you for all that you do, because I know the work that you put in. I know the sacrifices that you make. I know the burden sometimes that you carry with it. And so I just want to say thank you so much. This was written for you as a story form to kind of inspire you and give you hope and give you some, like, just a recharge to keep going. And I just want to leave you with the one thought that finishes the book. It's the one that I leave with leaders every time, is an effective leader. If you want to know if you've been an effective leader, and at the end of the day, when your leadership is over, all you got to do is make sure that you've left your people better than you found them. And if you'll do that, then I promise you, you have been a successful leader. So thank you all so much. Thank you for being here, sharing this time with us. Jeremy, again, thank you. And I hope, guys, that you take a minute and just, you can order it right now on Solution Tree, and it'll be to you really quick. But hopefully it'll be something. And I would love for you to let me know what you think of it when you read it. If you want to share reviews on like Amazon, I would love that and appreciate that too. But just thank you all so much. And, just keep up the great work that you do and know that you are appreciated. And again, if nobody else tells you, I'm telling you right now, thank you for the work that you do. I hope that you have a great evening. I hope that you have a great spring break coming up. And so just again, thank you all so much and have a great evening. And again, Jeremy, thank you so much for helping me with this.
No,
and
absolutely. Cool.
and thank
Great.
you all.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, we hope to see everybody again soon. So thanks for watching, and we hope that you leave inspired and informed and go out and do some really cool things. So thank you all.
Thank you. Have a great evening, everybody.